Welcome to the farm. I want to share a story with you guys. And it has a lot to do with these pretty cool animals behind me. So stay tuned. Don't tell people your dreams. Show them. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to show you. This guy right here had a master plan. And I never thought that we would be here. But we're here and we're sharing our journey. And boy, do we have some lessons learned on life, farming, gardening, this YouTube journey, you name it, we got them. We have a little something for everyone, so stick around. Let us share our lessons learned. Welcome to Acre Farms. If you're new here, let me introduce myself. I'm Jamie. I normally have my co-host, aka my husband, Ryan, with me. However, he's been really busy the last few weeks with this farm. And so you get me. But we are first generational farmers. We are attempted do-it-yourselfers. Make sure you catch that, attempted. We are pretty recent empty nesters and just figuring life out again. So what you see is what you get. So today, I want to talk a little bit about these guys and our journey to actually getting to where we are today with chickens, because we've come a long way. So our journey actually began in Colorado. It actually began the first day we got there, believe it or not. I just didn't know it was the beginning of this journey that I now call life. So we actually, when we moved there, we drove, we trailered a lot of our belongings or whatnot. And I'm not kidding. I actually arrived there first, and then Ryan came with a trailer and his belongings. He drove all night from Chicagoland to Colorado to get to the new house. And so he had very little sleep, and he made it to the new house and maybe a couple hours of sleep, maybe if that. And he asked me if I wanted to go to the supply store. Like, sure. At that point, you guys, like, I had no idea really what was at the supply store, because we weren't really in that deep at that point. And so I think we even still had the trailer on the truck. And so we went to the supply store. I told them I would just wait in the car. And because we still had things on the trailer. And so here comes Ryan with that infamous chicken box that you get. I didn't know at the time what it was. But he had got chickens. And we didn't have a coop. We had nothing for these chickens, right? And he's walking out. And as he's walking out, one of the first people that actually greeted him when we got to Colorado was an employee at Tractor Supply Company. And she comes running out and gave him a hat. At that very moment, I knew that I was in for a ride. And I was right, because ever since that moment, and that very special friend that he met, who he still keeps in contact with, in which she's taught him so much about chickens, it's been an amazing journey. But I will tell you, we learned a lot from being in Colorado. We actually lived on an HOA. We didn't read the guidelines very good. We were given incorrect guidelines, and so we were under the understanding that we could have poultry. So we invested quite a bit of money in Colorado. So we invested all this money to take care of these chickens in Colorado. We had everything set up. It wasn't the prettiest, I will say that, looking back at it. Like, we could have done better. But there was a complaint that we had chickens, and then there was a letter that came. And I remember this because I was actually out of state working. And Ryan called me, and I could just hear the disappointment in his voice, because the one condition that he wanted when we moved to Colorado was to be able to work towards this dream of him owning a farm and homesteading, you know. And that letter, I could hear it in his voice. At that very moment, I knew that I either had to get something done and something changed, or Colorado wasn't going to work. So I joined the HOA. I worked on rewriting the guidelines and the covenants. But if any of you have worked with the HOA or have been on an HOA, it's quite an ordeal to get covenants or guidelines changed. And so I really worked hard towards that. And then of course the pandemic hit. And then at that point, honestly, it made more sense to come back home. And so we came back home and we continued our chicken journey. So, you know, leading up from last year now to this year, I don't know if you guys watched our mail order chickens and the brooder setup, but Ryan did a fabulous job. He did such a fabulous job that we had absolutely no casualties. None. And here are these little creatures that we've raised now. They're all egg layers. We get about 2 dozen a day currently. They're not laying eggs just yet. Oh, but trust me, they will be. I have no idea what we're gonna do with all these eggs. We gotta get out there to our community and let them know we're here and we're selling eggs. It's pretty amazing. That leads me to talking about our next topic. We have meat birds on the way as well. So we have 30 Cornish hens and we have 30 Cornish cross hens on the way as well. And those are going to be the ones we use for our meat birds. We did meat birds last year. We did the Cornish cross. They're huge. They got huge. And I think we had some lessons learned. We did send those out for processing last year. Ryan did process some of our own, so he actually did something pretty cool, folks, that I don't necessarily know that a lot of people would do. And I think being here in Iowa, it was actually pretty fantastic because we actually had just moved here. We got the Cornish cross hens and they were ready to be processed, but of course the processors at that time were not open. And so he actually put some feelers out here in Iowa about if there was anybody that wanted to help him process chickens and show him the ropes. And there was actually somebody that did, and they wanted nothing in return. Nothing. Which is pretty stinking amazing. And he learned a lot that day. I, however, could not do it. I'm still working up the courage to just do it. To be honest with you, I think I'm going to help this year. I'm kind of softy when it comes to that stuff, so I will probably be processing chickens and crying at the same time. I'll probably have nightmares. But the reason why I think I'm going to help this year is because we actually had a freezer full of poultry. We did not have to purchase chicken from the store. The chicken that we ate, I knew exactly how those chickens were raised. I knew exactly what they ate, and I knew exactly how they were treated. That was pretty cool. Very cool. We also watched quite a few videos on what to do, right? When we first got our first round of meat birds, I will say that we just were not prepared. We really didn't have the proper setup and so forth. And then we got a second round of meat birds and we kind of switched things up with the chicken tractor. But the first chicken tractor, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you because this was like I don't know if it was a Wayfair buy or if it was an Amazon buy, but it was one of those. And it did pretty well. But looking back at it, it's like, oh gosh, it really should have been bigger. But let me show you kind of what we actually started with. And granted, the weather has done a number on it, but I want to show you this because it leads me to what Ryan has done. So this right here was a chicken type tractor where the meat birds would be inside and we would rotate them or whatnot. It was small, it wasn't big enough. So we did get a bigger chicken tractor, but the gale force winds here in the good old state of Iowa in this open farmland area posed for a challenge. One windy storm season back, gosh, I think it was late summer, it took that chicken tractor and it flew it, and literally flew it over the barn and into our neighbor's field. It really did. And our neighbors were so kind that they hadn't harvested yet, and they were able to get it out when they were harvesting. But needless to say, it was a mangled mess. We couldn't use it again. So Ryan watched a bunch of videos on how to build like those A-frame chicken tractors. He's gonna kill me for saying this. He spent so much time on that, you guys. So much time, but that poor thing. It literally was like, it was like a lopsided A. It just wasn't gonna work. And so he's like, Jamie, I'm just gonna have to call your brother and he's gotta help us. And I was like, just do it, Ryan, just get it done. Just figure it out, right? Figure it out. And he said, I can't, I'm not handy. Those are his words, I'm not handy. And I'm like, dude, you moved me here on this farm. It's just us. We're doing this. It's just me and you. You gotta figure this out. And so, this is what he did. And honestly, guys, this is a huge step for us. That chicken tractor I just showed you, he used that as a template to build what I'm about to show you. So he built this. Nothing fancy. I mean, we painted it. And he actually just basically built it to match the other chicken tractor. We just made it bigger. And it's sturdy, right? Will this work? We'll let you know. We will let you know. Okay. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and tell a million friends or two. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
But when we first moved here, we came with nothing. And like literally nothing. We had nothing but the clothes that we brought.
Dear Iowa, you are kind.
As a kid, I didn't know what it was, you know. I was like second, third grade. But they ran a story about us, our life, and what happened to us because we were victims of gun violence.
You are beautiful.
People from everywhere throughout Iowa start coming, like bringing us stuff and helping us and whole 9 yards.
You are welcoming.
When you have something like that traumatic happen to you in one place and then you get an overwhelming response, you know, it's home.
You are exactly where we need to be. You are home.